In this week's video, I'm going to build a workstation that takes up 4 square feet. It can be stored flat against the wall like this, where you can't see anything, or you can also store it with the tools out so you can access your tools anytime. You can always use this surface as a work surface, or if you want to work on a project, you can simply wheel it out, lock all the wheels, I'm visiting my sister this week, and we have a whole bunch of projects that we want to tackle here, but I think the first thing we need to tackle is to give her a dedicated workspace so that she can work on projects. But she doesn't have a lot of space in her garage. Everything's used for all of their outdoor activities and their sporting activities, and I want to create something that takes up the minimal amount of space. So here's the plan. We'll take some 1x12s and build a basic bookshelf. We'll add some shelves to it. We'll put some 2x4s on the back and add some caster wheels. Now the fun part. We'll hinge on a piece of 3/4 inch plywood with some legs hinged onto it. We'll do all this with just screws and a drill. And I'm also going to add a drawer. We just went to the Home Depot, got a bunch of boards, and we're gonna start building it. So we're kind of in a situation of like, we need a work center, but we don't have a work center to build a work center. So I'm making it as simple as possible, and I'm using these cabinet screws that you can buy right off the shelf, and you don't need to pre-drill them, they don't split your wood. They have a nice big head, so there's a lot of suction there. I'm just gonna put it together with that. I don't envision, like, this isn't where you actually assemble the project, this is where you'll like set your tools while you're working. All right, so this board will support the hinge up on the back. All right, so I'm going to start working on the hinge up top. I wanted to get the caster wheels on first so that way I could get the height right for the hinge up top. What I'm going to do is I bought this off-the-shelf 2x4 foot piece of plywood, and so I don't even have to cut it. And I bought a 48-inch piano hinge. I don't have to cut that either. It'll just go like this, right along this. So I got the piano hinge attached to the plywood panel first, and now I'm just going to attach it right here. It has to be flush to the top edge. And then to help me out, I just threw a 2x4 spacer in here to keep that in. It's not attached or anything, it's just set in there, and I can just start screwing this down. Before I put all the screws in, I'm going to go ahead and test it out. So it should flip up like that. And then we'll flip back down. Looks good to me. I'm going to finish screwing it off. Now I'm going to start attaching the legs. So I think the easiest way to do that is I'm just going to rotate the whole project up. And what I did is I cut these legs so that, like this, they're perfectly even with the wheel. Okay, so how the legs are going to work is there's going to be a hinge like this, and then this one will go here, and then this leg will be over here. So I just need to position them. I'm going to bring them a little bit in from the edge too. I went ahead and put a divider in here just because it's quite a distance for a 1x12 to span 4 feet. You don't want it to really span more than 3 feet. So that's why the divider is there. And also, I'm going to start customizing tool storage. So she has this saw here. So I'm going to put a shelf right about there for that. And then I'll go ahead and screw that in and then add another shelf and make it so this is really customized storage for her. So I got the 2 front screws in on this shelf, but I want to make sure that the shelf is being installed level. It's not going like this. So I just use a square, make sure that's level, and then I go around back and throw those screws in. So we're going to try to add a drawer right here into the project, but since it's actually fully functional at this point, I'm going to start using it as a work surface. For the drawer, you just cut the sides the same length as your drawer sides, and then the front and back, if you're using 3/4 inch thick material, and your drawer sides each need 1/2 inch clearance, so that's a total of 1 inch. I always make the front and the back 2.5 inches less than the opening, and then I'll actually subtract like 1/8 or so, just to give me a little bit of wiggle room if I have to shim it. So I'm going to nail this drawer together. You can screw it together, or you can Craig jig it together would be a really good option. Okay, so I got 3/4 inch brad nails in here. Okay, so that's the drawer, and it's going to slide right in here, like that. But I'm going to start installing the drawer slides. So here's the trick with these drawer slides. If you notice, all of the screw holes here, they're all in a line. So what I will do is I will draw a line in the middle of the drawer where I want this, and I'll line the holes up in the middle of that line and install it. And then I'll draw a line where I want the drawer slide here, and then I'll install it with the holes in the middle of the line. And that way I know that the drawer is exactly where I want it to be. So the trick here is I'm going to start my screw right in the center of that line. So as long as my screw hole starts in that line, I know it's going to be centered. Okay, so now I'm going to mount my cabinet member inside the project, and I just drew a line where I want this to be. I'll show you how I did it. So I took the drawer and I was like, where do I want this drawer? I want it right there. So then I drew a line in the center of where I want the drawer, removed it, used a square to draw that line all the way back. Now all I have to do is install this so that the line's in the center of the screw holes. Right there. Okay, so the drawer's all done. I'm going to see if it fits in there. Look at that. One thing I'll say about these drawer slides is they are adjustable, so come on in here. The boards were pretty cupped, so what I ended up doing is bending the tab that comes with it out to make it fit just right. So I do advise you to make your drawer maybe like 1/4 inch smaller than it should be, and then you can shim or adjust until it fits just right. Perfect. So I'm going to move on and get this shelf put in and finish this up. We just found an inexpensive ankle bracket and just put one screw in it, and this will hold it shut. One thing I did with the legs is I splayed them out, so I cut the top angle at 5 degrees off square, so you can see that's not perfectly straight. It's very difficult for it to wiggle back and forth because when you try to push it this way, the other leg kicks out. You try to push it this way, the other leg kicks out. So just that little 5-degree bevel at the top really helped out a lot. Another thing is to add a magnet. So when you go to close it, it would be really easy to add a magnet there and a magnet here. Two pieces close when they go together. This was such a fun, easy build. It was such an awesome project because it takes up only 4 square feet, and my sister was able to store all of her tools in it. Pretty much everything you need to build most of the plans on my blog. And the plans are live, so you can build it too to start using it for your own projects. I'll leave the plan link in the description. We sure appreciate you guys watching this week, and we'll see you next week.